The Trash Taste Podcast. It's been 5 years.
I mean, it's just different, isn't it? I mean, I think we just run out of like older stories to tell, so it's become more reflective of current life.
Yeah.
Which I think is some people don't enjoy as much.
We're definitely just getting better at just yapping.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
I mean, I think
maybe we've always been good at yapping, Joey.
It's also like, I think...
Speak for yourself.
I think when we first started, we put a massive emphasis on making sure that everything was explained.
Yes.
But as we get like 250 episodes in, it's a lot harder to keep people up on like stuff that has happened in the past, because we just can't sit here and explain everything, you know?
Yeah.
Or it's, or we've definitely just gotten to that point now where we're like, I'm pretty sure I've told this story like 5 or 6 times. And you just never have.
And like, so when people are like, man, it's changed. It's like, yeah, of course. It's a weekly show. It has to change over the course of 5 years.
It's been 5 years. Yeah. A lot will change.
And I don't necessarily like, I don't really mind as well. People are like, oh, I'm done watching Trash Taste or whatever. Yeah. Or, hey, like I'm a new viewer or whatever. Because it's like, all right, like, I mean, 5 years is a long time to keep up with something.
Absolutely.
I think if it got you through the pandemic and that's all it did, fucking awesome. We're so glad we were able to do that.
Good on you.
And I think that we just appreciate anything and the fact that you guys watch. But yeah, it does change and it will continue to change.
I mean, you know what's one revelation I had, which was like, okay, I don't blame people for, maybe who were there from the very beginning who are just kind of like, oh man, it's just like so much now that I just can't keep up. We've done close to 250 episodes now, I guess, at this point.
And we don't talk about much current stuff.
Yeah, we don't talk about much current stuff. But just like from a length perspective, right?
Yeah,
average episode is 2 hours long.
Yeah.
That's the equivalent to 1,000 anime episodes.
Yeah, we have more content than One Piece now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is insane. So it's like, I don't fucking blame people who are not here every single week. It's fine, dude. It's totally fine. If you want to just check in on us every now and then, we'll be here. Still yapping.
We're doing it. We'll be doing it.
You know the biggest change I miss from the good old days?
What?
Seeing Boss Man at Denny's every single week.
Yeah, Boss Man.
It hasn't been the same.
Boss Man at Denny's.
It hasn't been the same. Now, Trash Taste recordings, we just get Uber Eats.
Well, we have another Denny's close by, but the vibe is just not the same.
Different.
It's
the
like
vibes are so jank.
When we were in Saitama, it was like, this is our Denny's. You know?
We would walk in and Boss Man would be like, table for 3. Got you right here, boys.
Yo,
it's like, my man.
Yo, every Tuesday, table for 3. Come on in, boys. Come on. Yo, you got a guest today? Yo, don't worry. I'll give you the good booth.
Yeah.
Right next to the window.
That was such a great time. I love when we went to Denny's. That was so good.
That was fun.
I do miss Denny's actually.
Yeah.
I miss the fucking tuna melt sandwich that they would have at lunchtime.
You dip it in the pasta sauce.
Yeah. Oh.
I miss my power salad.
Power salad. Dude.
Taking out the fucking orange slices out of that shit.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Oranges should not be in my salads. I'm sorry.
Oh God, that's a deep Trash Taste metal war.
Oh my God, yeah, I forgot about it. I had not thought about going to Denny's to Trash Taste in ages.
Yeah.
Wow,
and that used to be a staple. That used to be the staple.
Yeah, that's how we'd start the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was always before lunchtime. Now we eat lunch at the office like degenerates.
Yeah, right.
We should go to the Denny's.
Still eating salad,
we should go to the Denny's next time just to confirm the vibes of that place are not good and that it's not worth. We should do it just to make sure.
All right.
Okay.
Let's do that.
All right, next one.
As a 5-year anniversary, we'll bring that shit back.
Accommodation, like housing, I suppose, or like traveling, or
I guess it's all encompassing.
All encompassing.
I think when we moved here, we just moved to where you lived, and you lived pretty far out.
I did, yeah. And I only lived up there because it was near my uncle's place.
Yeah. Right. So I think at the time we were just like, oh yeah, fuck it, we'll move next to Jerry. So we were just far out. And then after you learn the areas a bit more, then you're like, oh, I actually really like this area, or I want to live here, or wherever you can afford, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because the areas vary wildly in price and taxes actually. Depending on which area you live in, your taxes might be significantly higher, so be careful.
Were you ever satisfied with where you guys first moved?
I didn't give a fuck.
Okay.
I had internet and a room for my PC.
Oh yeah, fair enough. He's too gamer.
Yeah. I think and even now I think there's just a lot of comforts that the fucking trash in my building is so good. I can just take out my trash whenever.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I do. I don't know how much I can comment on this because I've only technically lived in 2 different places.
Yeah, me too.
In the 5 years I've been here.
Right.
And so because the second place I found, I've just been very, very happy with.
Me too.
Very, very much like that. It's a house. I think by the time my lease had ended in Saitama, I was like, okay, I think I'm ready to try and move into like a more like house kind of like place. 'Cause
Sure.
I think I'm just like bored of just most of my life living in like different apartments,
Yeah.
whether it be in London or wherever, you know, it's just like, I want to try actually living in a house, and very much enjoyed it. Had to be way more aware of the neighborhood, because it's not like having neighbors anymore in like apartments where, all right, everyone's
no
just,
one cares.
no
Yeah.
one cares. All right, if you piss off the neighborhood watch committee, i.e. the grandmas, you are fucked for life. People are like constantly like looking,
Coming for your ass.
Yeah, coming for your ass. So you need to make sure the garbage is out
Yep.
on the right day. There'll be times when the neighbor comes to greet you and stuff like that. So it's a different vibe. I much prefer this vibe.
That's
the
good.
only thing I would like to change is dogs or pets. Yeah, because my current place doesn't allow for pets.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that is very, very, like, I found to be very, very hard to find in Japan, which is a place that
Oh,
will
yeah,
allow
you
pets.
cannot find places that will allow pets.
Yeah. Well,
And
I
most
mean,
people just lie.
yeah. I mean,
Most people I know lie.
yeah. A lot of people do lie, and like I feel that now that I have a lot of friends who live here who are not originally from Japan who own pets because they've been here for a long time now. They've had to move to apartments, more specifically newer apartments. Like if it's been usually from what I've seen, if the apartment has been built within the last maybe 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
99% of them is pet friendly, because I think Japan understands that, like, oh, the pet culture is like,
And also,
growing.
landlords have now slowly learned that you can just charge extra.
Yeah.
It's like, there's a lot of
Just say
cases where
pet
it's like,
fee.
there's a lot of cases now where, like, if you're in an apartment or a house where it's technically not pet friendly,
Yeah.
and you've lived there for long enough, then you can just be like, hey, I've lived here for long enough, I will
Yeah.
pay extra if you let me have a dog. And sometimes they'll say yes. Sometimes they'll just be like, no pets.
Yeah,
I hate animals.
I think it's hard with, like, I think cats is a bit easier, but dogs is hard because dogs vary in size so massively.
Yeah.
And if you have a giant fucking dog,
Oh, it's rare to find a big dog in Japan, though.
I mean, you see them though. You see a lot of, especially like Yokohama, bro. I see so many big dogs in Yokohama.
Oh, bro,
Okay.
I have a neighbor who doesn't live in the apartment building I live in. He lives next door. He has a Mastiff.
yeah, dude.
shit.
I went
And
to
then I'm like,
Yokohama
it's
and
a
I saw so
fucking
many
pony.
big dogs.
Yeah, it's huge dog, and I'm like, what apartment do you live in where you can house this beast?
Yeah.
In Tokyo, though, it's super, super rare.
Oh yeah, it's always the handbag.
Yeah, it's always
dogs,
like
right?
the handbag
Yeah.
dogs.
That's so sad though.
Yeah.
I feel so bad.
Yeah.
And they always put them in the fucking buggies. I
Yeah.
hate it.
Oh my.
Hate it.
That shit pisses me off so
Hate it
much.
so
Like
much.
let the motherfucker walk, please.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's slowly getting better, but also slowly getting worse in some aspects from what I've heard.
I mean, in terms of like hotels, for example, right? Like it's just like it was always expensive for as long as I've remembered. But my god, nowadays.
Yeah.
Hotels now are so expensive. I remember I was talking to my cousin about this the other day. She was kind of complaining, being like, hotels now have gotten to the point where they're so expensive and they're always so busy that like foreigners visiting Japan usually don't have a problem with it. They might be like, oh, that's a little on the pricey
Yeah.
side, but we're on vacation and there's nowhere else to stay, so we'll do that. But now it's getting to the point where there's actually a lot of the hotels, especially hotel chains, it's getting so expensive that it's almost impossible for locals to afford.
Yeah, at least in Tokyo.
And there's
I
a
think
lot
big
of
cities.
and there's like a lot of like places, like more major places outside of Tokyo, like say for example like Kyoto or Osaka, where like even locals want to visit, where they just can't afford it anymore. Like
Yeah,
it just
it's
doesn't make
really
sense.
priced.
Yeah.
If you live in Japan to pay out the ass for a hotel in Kyoto for 2 days.
Yeah,
Well, it's because like the exchange rate just went to shits.
Yeah.
And so
it's really easy to
you-
tax extra.
Yeah.
all
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
make money off the foreign income, the
Exactly.
foreign tourists coming
So
in.
now there's like weirdly enough, even though like foreign tourism has obviously boomed to shit in Japan, local tourism is like kind of struggling because Japanese people just can't afford it sometimes.
Yeah, it's so weird. I think the biggest change I've seen living in Japan is because of the yen tanking and the increase in tourism. I see like a lot of parallels to what Thailand went through, where it became like this cheap tourist destination, and eventually locals, because there are certain areas in Thailand where the prices were way too fucking high for locals,
Yeah.
and so local holidays just didn't become a thing in that area, and even though that was like a really, really poor area. I see a similar thing happening in Japan, where because highly touristy areas are the accommodation, and not just the accommodation, a lot of the stuff is getting priced up. Locals can't even afford to go there anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And it's become more and more catered towards foreigners.
Yeah, it's that problem of like there's Japan is going through that inflation, but the wage is not changing. Like, do you see that? Like, did you see the whole thing about like cabbages in Japan?
Yeah, triple in price.
Yeah, it's like sometimes it got to the point I think where it was like 1,000 yen for a head of cabbage, and it got
Pretty
so
crazy.
ridiculous that restaurants, especially a lot of Japanese restaurants that were very reliant on cabbages, were just like, well, we could just, bite the bullet and just buy these super expensive cabbages, or we'll just, I don't know, shut the restaurant down.
Yeah, I saw a couple of places that were like, no, we'll just shut down.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, why don't you just try and raise the prices? Like,
Yeah.
I know you don't like that, but like, my God, that's crazy.
But they would rather shut down the
That's
restaurant
crazy.
than raise the prices.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
It's interesting.
It's called Japanese cabbage shock.
Of course it is.
Damn.
Yeah, it's whenever we do like cyclothons or we travel around more rural parts of Japan, it's really interesting seeing the hotel prices are like, we'll book rooms for like 8 people. It'll cost like $200. That's insane.
Yeah.
How the fuck does that make any sense? How is it $200 for 8 people, 8 rooms?
Well, probably because they're struggling, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm like, sure, does this even make money? Like, I mean, but I'm like, hey, look, I don't mind.
But to be fair, if they were charging the same prices as like other more major
you just
cities,
wouldn't go to
then
them.
you
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
wouldn't go, right?
Nowhere
Yeah.
would go to them. Yeah.
So they have to accommodate somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
All right, let's
Dozo.
see then. What do we got?
Dozo.
Dozo.